Hello everybody, back again. We are now going to look at activity 3.2 on page 985, and this is a chessboard. I'm sure you can know what it is. So this looks like a 2D array, doesn't it, with rows and columns, 8 by 8. Let's go do the activity. It says declare an array of strings called a board to represent the 8 by 8 squares. So we're going to do that here. I'm just going to type it there. Say a board colon array 1.8 comma 1.8 of, well, strings, I'm assuming. Okay, strings, array of strings. Okay, assign the position of all the pieces to the correct element in the array A board. Make sure to use different strings for white and black pieces, or access elements with the same pieces. Different strings. Okay, assign position. Okay, so we're going to give it names. For instance, white king, white bishop, black king, black bishop, and so on. White pawn, black pawn. So that's a king, that's a bishop. Okay, so that's a white. So I'm going to say, what is the white bishop? W bishop. Okay, W underscore bishop. Bishop. Wait, not that. We're going to say a board, square brackets. Where's this white bishop? Row 2, column 2 will be equal to, and inverted commas, W underscore king. It's the white king, it's there, isn't it? Yep. And then we're going to do the next one. A board, row 2, column 3 equals the white pawn, in inverted commas. And by the way, if you want to be able to do this on your own page, just go to the sign and click on it, and then you can actually type, and it stays in. You can actually save it too. A board, square brackets, row 2, column 4 equals black bishop. Bishop in inverted commas, because why? It's a string, and we carry on with all of it. Okay, so you got to go and do that by yourself. The rest of them, it takes a long time. Now at the top right of the board there are 2 yellow squares. Okay, I don't, oh, there they are. Okay, these squares show that the white king moved from the first column to the second column. How would you code this move using your array? Right, how would we code it? What I would do then, I would say, I would basically just do this code here that I just did. How do we move it? Yeah, that's all. That's what I would do. No other way around it. I mean, yeah. Oh, we got to empty the other one. Yeah, that's right. I forgot. We have to empty the other one. We basically have to say a board, row 2, column 1 is going to be equal to an empty string. That's what we have to do. An empty string. Because we really got it moved there. Can you see that? There's the code to move it to there. And that one has an empty string in it now. So that's how we would move the bishop. I mean the king. First, set this one to empty and set that one to be the king. Right. Since start save an array, you can use the information as part of your program. easily count which color has the most pieces by stepping through the array and counting the first letter. So you can have all of those things in an array. This is like a picture of your array in memory, you know, after you've gone and allocated all of that. So guess how they're computerized chess games, and now you know. Right, using loops to step through an array. Now we can use a loop to go through the array one box at a time, and that can be quite scary, but there is something that you can do to help you remember how to do it, and that is to memorize a few things. I know, sounds bad, doesn't it? I'm just trying to get my act together here. Right, okay, so we were on page 85 and we did that. All right, using a loop to step through, the best thing is to do it in code. So you know, we can go and read through all of this, and let's read through it. Yeah, fine. We know that we can go and display, well actually we're not going to use the word length, but we can display anything into a string grid. But to actually go through an array, we need nested loops. We need a for loop within a for loop, and you go through every single box when you go through that. And the only way we can do this, or the best way, is to actually put it in code, and that is what we will do. All right, so let us create following 2D arrays using pen and paper, including variable declarations. I'm going to use an array. Let's go to this one over here, page 88. We're going to have an array containing the multiplication table for the first 6 numbers. Create the following 2D arrays. An array containing multiplication tables for the first 6 numbers. Now the best thing is to do that in code. So I'm going to open a Delphi program. Sorry. There we go. So I'm just going to do that 3.3.1, and then tomorrow we can continue with the others. For new VCR forms application. Okay, now what we're going to do is we're going to just get a button in here, so I don't have to use something else. Now in this button I'm going to create an array. Array multi colon array. Now multiplication table is going to be for the first 6 numbers. So 1 times 6, 2 times 6, 3 times 6, 4 times 6, 5 times 6, 7 times 6, and so on. 6 times 6. Okay. Now, okay. We know that we can make an array that is 1 to 6, and that will hold our 6 numbers, not so? Now, if we wanted to put them in a 2D array, like one like this, where would we put our numbers? So we would have, let's say, 6 boxes down here. And then if we had 6 boxes down here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, that's not going to give us anything, because why? 1 times 6, 6, 6, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. No, that's not going to help at all. What's the point? 1 times 6 is 6, 2 times 6 is 12. So having multiplication for the first 6 numbers, and we know that we will get, okay, let's just hang on here. All right, so if we had the numbers like, we'll just keep it like that, and that one is going to be 1 times 6. That one will be 2 times 6, which is 12. This one will be 3 times 6, which is 18. This one will be 4 times 6, which is 24. This one will be 5 times 6, which is 30. And that will be 6 times 6, which is 36. So if we have those first 6 numbers in there, the array only has to be like 2 rows and 3 columns. Okay? Because that is 1 times 6, that's 2, 6, that's 3, 6, that's 4 times 6, that's 5 times 6, and that is 6 times 6. So I can do that. That's one option. So let's go and do that. Array 1 to 2, comma, and then 1 dot dot 3, and it's an integer array. Now how are we going to put our multiplication table in there? Right, we know that our numbers ARR multi, box number for row 1 and column 1 will be equal to 1 times by 6, won't it? Okay, I'm going to see where there's going to be a pattern here. And then box, so that's 1, row 1, column 1. Now we're going to go row 1, column 2. And then ARR multi row 1, column 2 will be 2 times 6. And then we will have row 1, column 3 will be 3 times 6. See, there's a bit of a pattern there, isn't there? Because this is 1, 2, 3, and that's 1, 2, 3. But then, of course, we're going to get to the next one. Row 2, column 1 is going to have 4 times 6. And if you look at our picture, row 2, column 1, row 2, column 2 is 5 times 6. And then row 2, that's 2 column 2, and then 2 column 3 will be 6 times 6. So that is how you put the data into the 2D array, but you can do that in a loop, especially with this first loop, hey? So we can say, let's make a for loop for k equals 1 to 3. I'll call it rcol. So that's the thing, we use rcol and rrow instead. Rcol and rrow we use as our counters instead of for loops with k. I mean, for our for loops, instead of using k and l and m, use rcol and rrow so that we know what we're doing. We're going through the column now. For rcol equals 1, 2, 3. Okay, 1, 2, 3. What are we going to do? We're going to say ARR multi box number 1, and rcol is going from 1 to 3 is going to be equal to rcol times by 6. See what I'm doing there? Rcol is going from 1 to 3. You can see 1, 2, 3. So we're fine there. And, or if we want, you know, and then for this one, well, we have to start with 4, 5, and 6. So that's going to be a little bit tricky, hey? To get a pattern going over here for this one. So this one is fine, because we will have that. But then we got to hop to row 2. Then what do? Yeah. You have to hop onto row 2. So if you go from 4 to 5 to 6, we know that we don't have 4, 5, 6 in our columns, in our 2D array. We only got 1, 2, and 3 for the columns, and then we have to move on to back to column 1 again for 24, 30, and 36. So we could say rcol is now 4. And then we can go from for our col equals 4 to 6 do. Sorry, not 4 to 6, 1 to 3. I mean, sorry, my bad. We've got a number there equal to 4, not our col. We have a counter here, I num, say I num equals 4. Then for our col equals 1, 2, 3, we are going to say ARR multi ARR multi, I must put begin and end here because why? I'm going to have to increment I num times 6, and that's going to be our col, and then I've got to increment I num over here so that we can get 5 times 6 and then 4 times 6, and then 4 times, first it's 4 times I num is 4, and we're going for our col equals 1 to 3. Okay, and then we're going to fill our array up at row 2 column 1 is going to be 4 times 6, whatever I num is, and then we increment I num, and then it's going to be 5 times 6, and our col is going to now be 2, and then it's after that our num is 6, and our col will be 3, and that'll be 6 times 6. So this is another way of doing it. So we don't need to do it like that. We can do it in loops. Okay. So the best way to demonstrate this is when you have a string grid where you display everything as well. So I'll just go and put a string grid on here very quickly. Type string grid there, click on it and draw it. Now the thing is that we must go and put our string grid, must make the same number of rows and columns that we have for our array. And we declared our array as having 2 rows and 3 columns. So for our string grid, because we've got headings here, we have to have 3 rows and 4 columns. So we click on our string grid, we go to the col count, and see the fixed cols and fixed rows stays there, those are headings. So our col count we're going to make 4 because we want 3 available to us to put numbers in, and the row count is going to be 3 3, so I'll put a 3 there. So as you can see, it's completely small, it's much smaller. We can go and put headings in those on the string grid if you want. But in the meantime, first we're going to go and put in our numbers that we calculated over here. So we filled our array with these numbers. Now we're going to go and see if the array works. In other words, if the array is filled correctly, we'll display it in the string grid. How else are we going to know? So to display things in a string grid, we use nested for loops. For our row equals, it's 1 to 2 because we know there are 2 rows. You can start with the row with the column first if you want, and then you say for our col equals 1 to 3 do, and then inside the middle here we're going to fill our array. We're going to say ARR multi, our string grid. What's the name of the string grid? Sorry. String grid 1. String grid 1. I did not give it a name yet. Dot cells, square brackets, I col, comma, I row equals. Now, fortunately, the string grid, the column and the row, the first one, these ones that are immovable, they're fixed, that's column 0 and row 0. So we don't have to worry about them. We're actually dealing with the inside bit, which is exactly the same numbering as the array, 1 to 2 and 1 to 3, except that we have column first. Oh wait, no, sorry, 2, no, I'm in the wrong place. We have the column first and then the row second. That's the only difference. And then we can say that is equal to the array ARR multi square brackets, I row, comma, I col. But there's only one thing wrong here, and I wonder if any of you can guess, and I wish I could ask you, and I'll give you virtual smarties if you got it right. The data type of this array, AR multi, is an integer. The string grid, you can only display strings, so we better go and convert int to string like that. And there it is. So I'm going to run the program, click the button. Oh, I always have. Oh, it's supposed to be of integer. I've been doing it wrong all the time. Terrible. I didn't declare my variable inum. For col, in a for loop you use a colon to get from one thing to the next. Colon equal, not just equal. Hit the button. So there's the numbers, just like we wanted it. And well, okay, I made a big mistake here, guys. I used colon instead of integer, and I probably did that in the activity that we did yesterday. I've got to scroll back up again. Yeah, no, I didn't of string there, but the other one didn't I make? Oh, I did it right. Of string of integer. Okay. Yep. Of. I must be getting. I don't know, but anyway, there we go. What we have here, here's a nested for loop that's producing 2, 3, 3, 4, 4, 5. You know, that sort of thing. I don't. It's not necessary for us to go and do that right now. We are going to carry on like we're doing now. We filled an array for the first 6 numbers, multiplication table, and now a 10 by 10 2D array of numbers. Fill the array with random numbers. Let's do this activity as this nested for loop activity. Okay, fill the array with random numbers in the range 100 to 999. Extract the numbers from the 2D array and display as a 10 by 10 table in a memo component. Insert an empty line, display the leading diagonal on the next line in the memo. So basically, yeah, we are going to do that as a program. And I think that you should actually do 3.3.3 now. Try it by yourself, and tomorrow I'll give you the answer. Okay, is that a deal? And we'll see you tomorrow.